Hi everyone, Sam here from the Manson Method. So today's video is about the choice to go low carb and how you're going to do that. Okay, so if you've watched any of the recent videos I put up about the low carb approach, then even further low carb, going into the ketogenic approach, and then the lowest that you can possibly go is the carnivore approach. If any of them appeal to you and you think, right, I really want to get a handle on my diabetes and I want to get good blood sugar control, then this is how you're going to do it. Okay, so depending where your diet is right now, and this could be eating loads of junk food, hopefully not. It could be eating clean foods, so there's not very many processed things in there, but you're still higher carb. You have to ask yourself whether you're the type of person that can just cut them out completely and go straight into a lower carb approach, or if you have to gradually wean yourself down. So we'll go right to the end of the spectrum, and if you're the type of person that is consuming a lot of processed food like sweets, crisps, microwavable meals, that sort of thing, the first thing I would recommend doing is cutting that out. Like, get rid of the sweets, get rid of pastries, get rid of crisps, microwave stuff, anything like that, and basically that would be your starting point. Okay, from then you would look at getting like an app, so something like MyFitnessPal, just to start tracking your overall food intake. And obviously the thing that you want to pay attention to the most is how many carbs that you're consuming on a daily basis. So you can do that from the beginning as well, and just see by cutting out all the crappy foods how much that brings your carb intake down. Then once you start logging foods like pasta, rice, potatoes, if you're that kind of person, then look at how much white sort of food that you're getting in. So like white rice, white bread, white pasta, not sweet potatoes, but like white potatoes. So all of them. So if you're mostly consuming that, this is like a 2-part drop down phase. So you can go for that first, and then try verging down to foods with like a slower release carbohydrate in it. So if you're having mostly white potatoes, switch to sweet potatoes. If you're having white bread, switch to brown. White pasta, switch to brown pasta, so on and so on. So even if you're having like say 3 meals a day, hopefully by this point you'll have tried to have cut out snacks, because snacks can be a bit of a problem for diabetics. We want to see how many carbs you're consuming at that point, and then it would just be a case of lowering your portion size, or having fewer meals across the day. Now, we've all heard that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. It's not. You then have a lunch, you'd have a dinner, you might have 2 or 3 snacks in between that. I only eat once a day because it's convenient and I've got enough energy to last me throughout the day. So that works really, really well for me. I'm not going to say dive in deep end and just start eating once a day, because your bloods will go shooting down, no doubt on that. So take how many meals you've got, and you can either slowly reduce the amount of carbs that you've got in each meal, so like the portion size, and see how you get on with that. Or you can take a meal out. So if you want to do the intermittent fasting approach, take out the breakfast and then have your first meal around lunchtime. See how you get with that. So sort of like timeline wise, you should, depending on the type of person you are and what your current diet's been like, you might be having over 300 grams of carbs a day, gradually come down to the 250s, the 200s, down to the hundreds, and then once you get under 100 grams but over 50, so say like 50 to around 100, that's when you're in like the proper like low carb region. And obviously during all this time you're going to have to monitor your insulin intake and your bloods. So scanning if you've got the Libra as much as possible, or taking a finger prick as much as possible. Your bloods will run lower as you bring the carbs down, if you're not careful with your insulin, because your basal insulin needs to come down as well. Okay, so it's trial and error. It's just all about monitoring it as much as possible so that you're not running into hypos. Okay, there is no one size fits all with this. It is literally up to you and your responsibility to track how much insulin you're taking per meal, and obviously your basal overnight, and just gradually reduce it as you go. You may run the risk of running a bit lower, but the first thing that should tell you is, right, your background insulin should come down. Hopefully that's what it is, and it's not that you've been taking too much of a bolus ratio as you go along with that as well. So yeah, just bring your carbs down gradually, or you can just go straight for it. And if you want to do the low carb or even the keto or even the carnivore one, you just cut out absolutely everything, okay? And you're literally going to be on the lowest amount of carbs possible. Now this will have quite an impact on you. I've done it many times because I've went on keto or carnivore and I've came off it, and then when I go back on, I'm quite good at just all or nothing, so I don't need to gradually bring my carbs down. But again, just monitor your blood sugars as often as you can. Make that your priority, and just make know that your insulin is going to have to drastically come down as well. Okay, so try that approach, whichever one you think. You'll know yourself what kind of person you are. If you can reduce them gradually, or if you're going to have, if you need to do it all at once, it's up to you. But just make sure you're monitoring your bloods and your insulin intake as you go through the process. Okay, hopefully that helped a lot with that approach, and you'll start to see much better blood glucose control down the line. See you in the next video.